Parallel Frequencies with Just Blane and Coco on a movie Monday here, fresh off the weekend. Coco, how was your weekend?
Full of watching movies in a cozy house next to a fire with my usual mocha coffee and snow.
Yeah.
A little bit, finally.
Yeah, we got a little bit finally. We were way past due, but it was not enough to keep anybody from watching the Game of Thrones Night of the Seven Kingdoms finale last night. Oh my gosh. It's Game of Thrones once again.
Can't wait to talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah, we're not going to go any further right now because tomorrow on Tube Tuesday, we're going to break down that whole season of Night of the Seven Kingdoms. And if you are a Game of Thrones fan, which we all are, who's not? I wonder if there's people out there. There are people, I'm sure, that aren't. None of our freaks, I'm sure. I think all of our freaks are probably. But
I hope so.
Fresh.
You're in the right place.
Fresh off with the Game of Thrones hype, we've got this right here. And I don't think it came out late last week, but I love Game of Thrones. And this is the House of Dragons Season 3 trailer. Let's check this thing out together.
This is the moment you become queen.
Ooh. Okay. I love Daemon Targaryen. And this goes back again to the thing you said last week about during Night of the Seven Kingdom had you pulling out the Targaryen family tree. So
I'm in deep.
Yeah. I think we should all be.
And I am more Team Targaryen than I should be because obviously they have a lot of issues and a lot of them didn't deserve to be king, and that's not a good side to be on. But how could you not have loved Daenerys Targaryen? I think they did her dirty.
Yeah.
And right there in the last scene when they said, now you become queen, I was like, she was always queen, okay? She did not have to prove herself.
No, not at all.
She was born queen. Oh.
Yeah, I'm hyped about
So that just tells you what side I'm on.
Right? I'm hyped about the dragon one. I honestly, I wasn't that hyped about Night of the Seven Kingdoms because it didn't seem like there was going to be dragons, not a lot of action.
Yeah.
But that's just a different style of what they're going for, and it's a totally different show. But House of Dragons, one of my favorites. That's one of my favorite Game of Thrones. It's probably, to me, well, at this point, better than Game of Thrones because of how that thing turned into a pile of trash really at the end. But
very end did us dirty.
Yeah, they did. So I think they got to make it up to us. And House of Dragons really doing that. Yeah. Speaking of monsters and all this craziness, let me ask you something right here out of the gate for Movie Monday. When was the last time a monster in a movie made you feel more human? Because that's what our focus today really did in The Shape of Water. And it was Doug Jones who did that. Doug freaking Jones. How about that? Let's just call him Doug freaking Jones. We've seen monsters our whole lives in cinema. Rubber suits, prosthetics, CGI chaos. But Doug Jones doesn't just wear a costume. He inhabits it. The Amphibian Man in The Shape of Water is silent. No monologues, no witty one-liners, just breath, movement, his eyes. Like, it's crazy, the performance that he put in and built a full emotional arc without dialogue. Just facial freedom. That's what he was using. What did you think about that? Because that in itself is already a hard feat to do.
Yeah, Doug Jones is known for his acting with his body.
Yeah.
That's what he's hired and cast for the roles that he plays probably most because he doesn't have to speak, but his body, Pan's Labyrinth, Hocus Pocus, these other things that he's played, I think it's very clear that like he's chosen because he can exhibit so much with just body language. And in researching this role, looking at like how he was going to show movements and emotion without words, he studied kind of movements of dogs.
Yeah.
So this goes back to our good boy.
Yeah.
Like, who deserves the awards for best acting if a dog is just being a dog, just being what dogs do? And then there's Doug Jones, who is using those same tilts of the head, movements, to look like he's listening or that he's empathetic or that he's curious or what he's playing out there. So I think that's really worth diving into.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
But you named off some of the stuff he's been in, and that's crazy because Doug Jones to me is one of those performers who's been in everything but somehow still feels like a secret. But it's because he's behind these elaborate costumes and stuff. Hellboy, Pan's Labyrinth, Hocus Pocus, Saru in Star Trek Discovery. A lot of people don't even realize that was him. The man is basically...
I bet.
He's Hollywood's patron saint of elegant weirdness. But, you know, in...
What a great career to have.
In The Shape of...
If you really think about it.
In The Shape of Water, he did something different. He made vulnerability look powerful. And this is crazy because, to be honest, this is a monster that could have been framed as a threat. Instead, he's the most emotionally intelligent person in the room. That's Doug Jones. That's what he portrayed. That's what he's putting across for the people, you know, that are watching this. We're going to go on and on about how great Doug Jones is.
Yeah.
But I think,
well, I have said in previous episodes, if any of you freaks out there, remember, I talked about the most romantic thing my husband did for me recently was start reading my favorite romantasy novel. And in the world of romantasy novels, you kind of extend your attraction to certain characters to things that you maybe normally wouldn't be attracted to in real life. I think this movie does that because I think the first time I watched it, and this was years ago, probably when it first came out, I was a little bit uncomfortable with like, well, is this okay to have a relationship with a human and this creature? I mean, obviously very attractive for many reasons, but you know, you kind of get that feeling of like, are we just suspending that thing in our head that says maybe this isn't okay?
yeah.
And in romantasy, you do that a lot. So now watching it after that, I'm all in. I'm like, this is one of the most beautiful romance love stories I think that cinema has ever done. And the fact that she's seeking out someone who is, like you said, it's more about the emotional intelligence connection that they have that clearly in this movie is showing doesn't exist as well in the real world. Maybe she just hasn't found the guy who measures up in that capacity.
I like that.
If you know what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying there. I think maybe Sally Hawkins played Alyssa. Maybe the fact that Doug Jones is the creature, Amphibian Man, maybe the fact that he did not talk was what was so attractive. I think everybody wants the male side to shut up. So maybe that's what it was.
Well, both of them were, obviously, you know, she's mute in the movie. She communicates with sign. Not deaf, but mute. And I think that plays so well in this movie that the two of them, the two who can't talk, communicate the best.
Yeah.
If you're really paying attention to the scenes, everyone's interrupting each other. I mean, Octavia Spencer playing Zelda is one of my favorite characters in this movie. She never stops talking. She rarely even stops to like check in with her, you know, in the beginning of the movie. Obviously she's a good friend. She does better at that as the movie goes on. But she is a great character to highlight what I was saying in that she's constantly complaining about her husband.
Yeah.
And you notice how she's always like, he's in a mood today. Or, you know, oh, I gotta get home to my husband. And, you know, oh, men, they don't know what they're doing. You can't trust short men. I love that scene where she's like, can't trust a short man. And then, you know, in the end, her husband shows in the scene that they actually have with him in it, how useless he is. How absolutely like, why is she still with this guy? She must just be with this guy because she has to be.
Yeah.
You know, in that day and age, and even in today's day and age, like you want to be with a partner who cares about you, who adores you, and that's what these romantasy novel characters like the Aqua Man or Amphibian Man.
Amphibian Man, yeah.
Amphibian Man, and you know he exhibits that role for women. That's like, what would it be like to be truly seen, truly heard, and truly adored? Truly.
Truly. We had the pleasure of speaking to Doug Jones at FanX 2025. And before we roll that interview, I want you to listen for something. Not just what he says about anything, but how intentional he is about movement, stillness, breath. He is one of the kindest individuals that we ever ran across too. And we got to do this with Promise to Live, the suicide prevention organization called 988 if you need help now. But let's go check out Doug Jones's interview right here. All right, we're here with the one and only Doug Jones.
Actually, there's quite a few Doug Joneses out there.
No.
But you're the main one.
And only.
Okay, I'm the actor one. Okay.
Now, we can sit here and name off all these roles that you've been a part of, and my favorite is Saru. I love Saru.
From what show?
Star Trek.
Discovery.
Now, last year I got to tell Jonathan Frakes that I actually named my child Riker. I can't say the same that I named his child Saru.
Yeah, but I've had people name their dog Saru, so that's the category I'm in.
That's a good dog name.
I get the
good.
pet names, yeah.
You know what's happened though around my house is we do the Saru walk.
Of course you do.
And I think it's when we're leaving the room, like, you know what, we just outsmarted somebody. Like, we did something that just, yeah, but we feel like it's a sign of.
Well, it's a very supermodel, I'm all that kind of a walk.
So wait a minute. So Saru is his walk is based off of a supermodel.
Well, I mean, it was the shoes. My hoof boots changed my posture, so I kind of walk like I was standing with the hips forward, kind of like, okay.
Mine's blowing. The physical roles that you've played, I'm just...
Thank
you.
That's so
no words.
kind of you. Thank you so much.
But we are here for healing today, and I really want to talk to you about our organization, Promise to Live. And we're out there getting messages of hope to people who might be struggling. We want them to make the promise to live. Mm-hmm. So would you be willing to make that promise today?
Oh, I promise to live.
Yeah.
Okay,
In fact,
so
I have a story I can tell you, too.
Oh, let's hear it.
You get a hug, a pocket hug.
I will take my hug.
Yeah.
Aww. And a real one after we're done here.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'll tell you what. Oh, this is lovely. About 20 years ago, I was doing a commercial for a car, and I was out on the road in the Central California, and I was in a kind of a depressed mood for various reasons in my life, which we all go like this throughout our entire life. I'm 65 now. I have the luxury of hindsight. I can look back and say, oh, that was a tough time, but I got through it. And so 20 years ago, doing this commercial, I was really depressed, and I was looking at the hillside, all the rolling hills around me, and I thought, you know what, if I run over that hill and never come back, no one will miss me. I had that moment, and I know some of us have had that moment before. Some of us act on that moment, and I'm glad I didn't. Had I run over that hill and never come back, I would have missed 20 great years. I would have missed a daughter, a grandchild, and so many more in my career, so much more in my career, and so much more friends and family time that are all the ups. I would have missed all those peaks. Yes, there are going to be valleys, but when we're on the peaks, we can look back and go, oh, that was a valley. Wow, I'm glad I'm over that, and we will get over it. There is hope.
That's
Absolutely.
beautiful.
Amazing message.
Oh.
And when you're in those peaks, like he's talking about, go to promisetolive.org and make that promise to live, because it'll get you through those hard times.
Yeah, because when you're back in a valley, you remember, I have made that promise, right?
Doug,
Right.
This is a beautiful message. We weren't expecting that, and I don't know why, because you were just a beautiful man. Seriously, and we are glad you didn't go through with that, because you've touched a lot of lives. You seriously have. Like, the work you've been in, like, you got just a couple of characters behind you, but you've seriously changed lives. Like, and this guy completely radiated kindness. We didn't ask for that story he gave us. He just gave it to us. And that was vulnerable. Just like the characters that he plays, that one hit me. It gave me butterflies when I heard him giving that story. And
yeah, I'm emotional today. It's crazy. I think in the moment I was just listening to him and really grateful to be there in his presence and listening to what he had to say. But listening to it back, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Incredible. I am glad that he didn't walk over that hill, because we would have all been, and it's selfish to say, but we would have all lost something without knowing it, really. And
yeah,
this man, to me, is the reason that this movie won the Oscar. But yet he wasn't nominated for a damn award, not one. But there was a lot of people that won awards from this. Best Picture. Guillermo del Toro won, I think, something for directing in this. Octavia Spencer either won or was nominated. She's a class
Fantastic.
triple A top S tier actress out there, you know. So she's always going to be top notch. Sally Hawkins. This movie was a quiet one though. It was, if you remember when it came out to me, it was like a word of mouth. Oh, you got to watch this Shape of Water. Oh, you gotta check this out. And I love those kinds of movies because, yeah, then you really get a community to be able to talk about the moral aspects, the ethical aspects, all of these different things. And it's like you said earlier, it's a reflection. So, yeah, go ahead, though. Tell us what you think about Doug Jones, because you hadn't got to say much, because I've been over here praising his everything.
Yeah, we'll just sit here and gush over that beautiful human being who, honestly, just, I think of that day we were there doing press and we met quite a few people, and I think that his booth, even just, we were there early, so it got busier, but it was not as busy as I would expect. I think that's because people don't know who they don't recognize him because he plays parts that are completely different than what he looks like. And 3 hours of makeup for this movie every day. I mean, insane. But yeah, I think he deserves all of that accolades for his talent, for his abilities. But he's just a beautiful human being.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell in those stories. You could get in the kind of merch stuff that they have in the back. You could get a shirt that said "Doug Hug." I got a Doug Hug, and I almost bought one. I'm kind of mad that I didn't now, but I was like, we did get a Doug Hug.
We absolutely did.
He was handing out hugs left and right. He was so generous with his time, so generous, and just the sweetest human ever. So I'm very grateful we got to have that moment with him.
Yeah, but you could see all of his characters in him. And let's talk specifics about his performance in Shape of Water. Like, we talked about it. We mentioned the head tilts, the curiosity, the restraint, the first egg scene. Remember that? Like, the way he studies her like she's a miracle instead of prey already tells the audience, oh, yeah, he's not maybe a threat. Maybe he's feeling something. Maybe it's curiosity, like I said. You got the scene.
And tell the shift in just subtle subtext is what they call it.
Yes.
I believe.
Yes.
Is that the small movements and choices in acting that portray thoughts and portray feelings. And you can see that in like you said, the way he looked at her. And I loved reading about how when they filmed this together, they had to be really vulnerable with each other. They had to be, I mean, this is a romance.
Yeah.
There's a lot, of physicality going on with the two characters, Eliza and the Amphibian Man. And so reading about this, they prepared for their takes together by saying that they loved each other. They would say, I love you before the take. I think that's so sweet. I'm just like, I must be having an emotional day. It's the eclipse season, you guys. I'm just like...
I've seen a lot of that. What is this eclipse? Not to get too far off topic, but what is this eclipse we just had or is coming up?
Listen,
what's going on?
I cannot pretend like I know all about the astrology because I'm more like a seasonal witch. But I do know that this dark moon that we just had week past is in an eclipse season, and that it is one of the most powerful, intense energies going on. I believe, what is it? Neptune, which is emotions and water feelings, is in Aries, which is a fire sign.
Oh.
Fire and passion and aggressiveness kind of energy is like how I think of it. And so, and I think Saturn is in Aries, I believe. Someone out there knows astrology better than I do that can tell me. But I do keep up a little bit on these things because I try to live my life in these seasons and cycles. I know I'm not separate from them. And as well as I tried to just be a human, and the emotions caught up with me anyway. So it's been like not sleeping, foggy brain, emotional. So yeah, freaks are going to have to just forgive me for...
We're going to have to power through. All of us. We're going to have to power through.
Power through it, guys. We're in this together. We can do this.
The tank scene the quiet rage we feel when he's tortured. You feel the injustice in his posture before you see it in his face. And that's, once again, the performance of Doug Jones. You know what? Actors talk about finding the character. I think Doug builds these characters from the inside out. I think he does it himself. And it's like you said earlier, we don't necessarily know that it's him most of the time because he's always in a suit. You know, so that's crazy that he's this. There's other people like that. Andy Serkis, I think is his name. The guy that does all the mocap stuff for Lord of the Rings. He did Gollum. He does all of King Kong's. Another one that's doesn't get as much love as he should.
I know. I hope they're like paid extra or something for all the hours they spend in the makeup. I don't know how things work in Hollywood, but I would just like to think that they deserve something for compensation for all that time in the chair.
Have to.
That's hard work.
They'd have to, because he's putting in 6 to 8 hours before shooting to get prosthetics and makeup and whatever else. You got to have some patience for that.
Yeah. Yeah. And the character development, I read there were 40-page backstories for each character in this movie. So there's a lot of research, a lot of work being done. And I think it comes through. I mean, I think you can tell Eliza has this whole backstory about being an orphan and, you know, where she came from, even her last name, meaning exposed in Italian.
Yeah.
Because that's what they gave orphans in the orphanage. So there's all this context and layers to their characters.
Which is great storytelling, and that's Guillermo del Toro doing his thing. And this is one of those movies, though, that he made that wasn't really terrifying like a Pan's Labyrinth, but still had some of those moments where you're like questioning things. And I love that because he always gives us that. We should do Frankenstein. We should make sure we get Frankenstein in pretty soon.
Oh, it's on my list, guys. Don't you worry. Queen of the Schedule right here has got that one coming up.
I love the Queen of the Schedule. If you guys out there want to hear us talk about something that we haven't, hit us up. DM us. Yeah. Talk to Coco.
Or get it on the schedule.
Let us know. What's your final thoughts on?
Yeah, talk to me.
Yeah. What's your final? Yeah, not me. Don't hit me up. Hands off. What's your final thoughts on The Shape of Water and really our focus on Doug Jones here?
Okay. I need to take a second to talk about the decaying fingers of Strickland.
Oh, yes.
This character, oh my gosh. Let's see. Michael Shannon, who plays Strickland in this. I mean, kind of the evil bad guy to the Amphibian Man's good guy. I mean, there's got to be that push and pull going on there because he's supposed to be the creature. Yeah. He's supposed to be the quote unquote monster. But I always come back to the Hunchback of Notre Dame when they're singing, "Who is the monster and who is the man?" Because it reveals, sorry about my singing, guys. Sorry. But it reveals that who we thought was the monster because they look different or they, are misunderstood or, whatever the reason, the Hunchback in the Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's like, but who really actually is the monster? The guy who tries to get himself a teal Cadillac and go home to his wife and kids and is trying to, get promoted and make his quota, and he's icky, absolute, like the way that he treats Eliza like a piece of meat and just everything about that. I keep coming back to the line that he says, "What does the Lord look like?"
Oh, yeah.
When he says to Octavia Spencer's character Zelda, "What does the Lord look like?" Because he's trying to say it doesn't look like that creature.
Yep.
We're made in the Lord's image. That creature was not made in the Lord's image. What does the Lord look like? I think he looks more like me.
Yeah.
And you, well, actually more like
more
me.
Like me, yeah.
When he's talking to her. And I looked at my husband and I said, I mean, if we're talking about Jesus, I think maybe he looks more like Octavia. Yeah. He was Middle Eastern. I don't know why people keep thinking he looks like he looks more like you. But yeah, that just seething racist bigot, misogyny guy from the 60s that he encompasses in this movie, and then just full on shooting people at the end.
Well, let me throw this little fact factoid at you, but there was some foreshadowing about exactly what you said in the opening sequence. During the credits, the narrator's talking and says, and the monster who wanted to destroy it all, as Michael Shannon's name pops up on the screen.
Interesting. I didn't catch that. But yeah, I didn't catch the monster.
Yep, that it implies that his character, a human man, is the real monster and not the Amphibian Man. But it happens right there. Foreshadowing in the opening credits of the movie. Go check it out again. That's worth watching again for. Go watch the opening credits. I love this movie.
And for every man out there watching this movie as a, what do I do to become a better man? Look towards the Amphibian Man as your guide in how to treat your lady or partner, and how to be a considerate person in the world.
Yeah. The Amphibian Man showed us. You don't have to be loud. You just got to be present. You don't have to dominate the room to change it. Sometimes you just have to move differently, literally. Maybe that's the lesson from Shape of Water. Learn how to move different. Learn how to
flow.
Flow. That was the word I was looking at.
Flow like water.
See, our frequencies are like this, and then every once in a while they diverge or something, and we hit that synchronicity. How about that?
Yeah,
I like that. But
let that water wash right over you.
Okay. Too much water now. We're getting into. But no,
the feelings. We're having all the feelings.
Got tears flowing on today's show with the Doug Jones interview. But yeah, I guarantee you won't be the only one that hears that, Coco, and does that, because that's a beautiful story. So this is Parallel Frequencies. This is Parallel Frequencies with Just Blane and Coco. We're going to have more interviews for you, too. And don't forget, tomorrow, Night of the Seven Kingdoms breakdown. If you haven't caught up, it's not that long, freaks. You can watch it in like 2.5 hours and be done. Check it out. We're going to talk about that tomorrow right here on Parallel Frequencies. We'll see you on the other side.